So in today's video we will try to learn After Effects within 30 minutes. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. Okay, so whenever you are going to open this software, you will get this first option called new composition. All you need to do is simply click on it. Then you will get this option called composition name. I'm going to name it as main. Then you will get option called presets. Over here right now it is on custom, but you can choose whatever preset you want. Then you will get height width option. Then frame rate, which is frame per second. They will provide this much fee, what we call frames per second, but right now because this is for video, so I'm going to choose 30. Then you will get this resolution, which is provided up to, let's say, 4, and you can customize also this, but I would recommend initially it should be in a full. And then you will get this duration. Right now it is 30 seconds, but you can choose whatever duration you want. Right now I'm going to choose it at 10.30 seconds. And then background color, obviously you can choose whatever color and hit OK. Then these are some basic settings to create composition. Then you need to hit OK. After creating this composition, you will get this option called project over here. If you double click over here, it will ask you to import some images or videos or another After Effects file in your project. Right now I'm going to stick with this video and I'll simply hit import over here. So as you guys can see, this is gonna appear in your project window, and whatever things, compositions and whatever you are going to create over here, it's automatically gonna be in your project window. Then you can simply drag it either over here or over here. Let's drag it in our timeline, so it's gonna appear in our viewport also. So this is my timeline. Now this timeline is divided into two sections. Over here you will get all the properties related stuff, and over here you will get this actual timeline. So let's focus on this one first. So over here you will get this blue line, which is known as current time indicator. Now if you hit spacebar, it will run your video like this, and if you hit spacebar, it will stop. Now if I click on plus icon, it will zoom it, minus to zoom out like this, and you can adjust it with the help of mouse also. So you can check out the duration like this. Now as you guys know, this is 10.30 seconds. Now suppose I want to reduce the timeline of this. So what I'm gonna do, I'll go to, let's say, somewhere around 5 seconds. So at this point I'll hit N. So now my timeline is up to 5 seconds only. And if I go over here, let's zoom in a little bit, and if I hit spacebar after 5 seconds, what will happen, that it will start the video again from the start. It's not gonna go over here. But as you guys can see, the composition is still 10.30 seconds long, but now I want to reduce the composition size also. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'll simply right click over here and I'll click on trim comp to work area like this. So now my composition is 5 minute long only. And suppose if I want to check out my composition settings, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press Ctrl K, which is a shortcut key, to open the project settings. As you guys know, the time duration of this composition has been changed now, which is 5.04 milliseconds, and you can hit OK like this. So this is for the timeline section of this. Now we will focus on the properties panel of this timeline. Over here, as you guys can see, first we will get the source name, and over here we will get several options like this motion blur and 3D. We will see that further. Now over here, if you see, we have one down arrow over here. If you click on it, it will give you two options: audio, which obviously because this is a video format, so it should be in audio. So over here you will get this audio settings, and then you will get this option called transform, which contains the properties like position, scale, rotation, opacity. And over here you will get the stopwatches, which are basically for keyframes like this. We will see what are this and what are the use of it. Right now, suppose I'll minimize this. Now if I select this and I want to animate the position of this video, so for that, what we are gonna do, I'll press P, which is a shortcut key, to open the position keyframes. I mean the position property. Then I'll create one keyframe at the stopwatch over here. I'll hit spacebar, so my time indicator will go over here, and then I can change the property of this one from here. And if I go to the start, let's zoom in a little bit, and if I hit play, as you guys can see, we will get the position property is going to animate, and these are the concept of keyframes. Now along with the position, I want to animate the scale of this also. So I'll select this shortcut key for scale is S. I'll create one keyframe. Now suppose I want to see the both the keyframes for scale and position also, so I'll hit U now, so I can see both the keyframes. And then I'll go over here, and I want to decrease the scale of it, so I'll decrease the scale also. Now I want to animate the rotation property also, so I'll press R for rotation. I'll create one keyframe, then I'll hit U again. Now I want to jump this current time indicator in forward direction, so shortcut key for that is K, so it will jump on the forward direction keyframe. And suppose I want to go backward, so I'll hit J. So K is for forward, J is for backward, so I'll hit K and I'll rotate this over here. So if I see this now my basically three properties are animating: position, scale and rotation, like this. Let's go to the start again. Now I want to animate the opacity also, so I'll hit T. Let's create one keyframe, hit U so we can see all the keyframes. I'll hit K, and now I'll decrease the opacity also. So these are the few things that we should know in After Effects whenever we are going to use it. So we can import whatever images or what we call After Effects files or video files if we want, and with the help of the shortcut keys like position, scale, rotation, opacity, and with the help of the stopwatch and keyframe concept, we can animate whatever we want. Now after learning about timeline, we will learn something about this viewport. As you guys can see, we will get this kind of viewport. Now I'm going to delete this keyframes from here. Now if you know that I've already imported one video over here, so if I click on it, as you guys can see, we will get some dots at the edge of it. So with the help of that, you can adjust the size from here also, and if you hold shift, and then as you guys can see, you can adjust it properly like this. Now as you guys can see, the scale is very small and the composition is quite big. So now suppose if I want to adjust it properly, now suppose the position is misplaced and rotation is also misplaced and scale is also misplaced. Now I want to make it fit with my composition. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'll simply select this video, I'll right click on it, and I'll go to the transform properties, and I'll choose fit to comp. Okay, so after that, suppose I want to zoom in or zoom out, so I'll choose my scroll option to zoom in, zoom out in my what we call viewport. And suppose I want to move, so I'll hit space bar, and with the help of click I can adjust it like this. Now suppose if I zoom out too much, and I'll move this thing over here, and now I want to regain my original position. So over here you will get this option called magnification ratio pop up. All you need to do is to simply click on it and make this fit, so you will get this option. Now after that, you will get this option called choose grid and guide option. If you click over here, it will allow you to create two options. One is title selection, which is helpful to create a grid like a camera. Then another one is proportional grid, which is basically gonna create some grid, but I always use title selection because that is more useful. Now after that, you will get this option called toggle mask. This is basically if I want to select anything and I want this corners, so that's why this option is always enabled. Now I'll go few frame forward like this. Suppose this is my proper point to explain this option called full. Right now if you see, this is in full resolution. Suppose if I'm gonna choose quarter resolution, so as you guys can see, the quality of this one is quite less. If I choose full, I'll get something like this. So that's the use of this resolution option. We will see the use of this one little bit later. So right now all you need to understand is this options. Now after that, over here you will get this option called effect and presets panel, and this is the main master of this what we call entire software. Over here you will get this search option, but if you see over here, there are so many effect and plugins After Effects provide. In search option, you can search whatever presets and effects if you want to apply. Right now I'm going to choose, let's say, brightness and contrast effect. So first of all, if you want to apply this thing, you need to select your layer, and then all you need to do, simply select that effect and double click to apply this, or you can simply drag and drop on this. And then over here, whenever you are going to apply any effect, there is one window gonna pop up, which is your effect controls. And over here, as you guys can see, we can see that effect, and if you can increase the brightness and you can increase the contrast and etc etc. So this is just a one effect. You There are so many effects, as you guys can see. You can apply that later. So this is the use of effect and presets panel, like this. Then over here, or you will get this option called preview, which is the same. Like as I said, if you hit spacebar, it's gonna play, but if you want to preview this from here, you can. If you see over here, you will get this play option like this. And suppose if you want to go to the last keyframe, you can click on it. If you want to go for the start, you can click on it. And if you want to move one frame forward, so you can simply click on this icons like this, next frame. And if you want to go backward, you can choose previous also. And over here you can adjust the frame rate, etc etc. So these are some basic options which we will get in the preview thing. Now after learning all of this, let's focus on our toolbar, which is provided by After Effects. One is obviously home. After the clicking on it, it will create some another viewport, like it will allow you to create another composition, etc etc, but I don't want that right now. Then you will get this option called move tool or selection tool. The shortcut key is V. With the help of that, obviously you can click on anything and you can move whatever you want, like this. Then you will get this hand tool. With the help of that, you can adjust your viewport like this. Then you will get this magnification thing like zoom tool. Shortcut key is set. If you click on it and you can select this much portion, so it will zoom on that area like this. I'll make this fit again. Then you will get this option called rotation. With the help of that, you can rotate it like this in your viewport. Then you will get this camera. We will see this thing whenever we are going to focus on the 3D objects like this. Then we have this pan behind tool, which is basically to adjust the anchor point of your subject. For example, if you see the anchor point of this video is properly at the center, which means suppose if I select this video, if I press R and if I rotate it, as you guys can see, it's gonna rotate from the center. So I'll hit Ctrl Z and I'll choose my pen behind tool and I'll move this anchor point over here. And now if I suppose rotate it, it will rotate it from here. So this is basically for this purpose. So you can adjust the anchor point. Anchor point is basically act like a center of mass of any object. So yeah, that's for this. Then you will get this option called shape options, where they will provide, I think there are 5 shapes. Shapes are limitations in the software, but whatever they are enough. We will see this how to use these things for a while. Now after that, you will get this option called paint tool. With the help of that, you can create this kind of shapes like this. And whenever you are going to create any shape over here, you will get these two options. One is for fill, basically inside color, and another way is stroke over here. And with the help of that, you can adjust the stroke of this like this. So this is for this one. Then you will get this option called text tool. With the help of that, you can type whatever text over here if you want. If you hit Ctrl A, it will select the text. Now whenever you are going to apply any text, there is another window gonna pop up over here, which is your character menu. Over here you can increase the size of text, you can choose the color of this text. Over here you can choose the font if you want. Whatever font you want to apply, you can apply over here. Then it will allow you to choose what you call, which type of thing you want. Then as any other graphic designing software, it will allow you this kind of options like distance between alphabets, etc etc. If you want italic, bold, and all caps, etc etc. So these are the options provided by text tool and this character menu, like that. And obviously there is gonna be like paragraph options, like alignment for your paragraph, etc, like this. So let's add this. So this is the basic options which are provided by After Effects. Now we will see some proper animation and we will understand how to use keyframes and graph editors. Now, as we have discussed, we have one shape tool over here. Over here I'm going to choose ellipse for this specific animation. I'll click on it. Over here fill, I'm going to choose red color. Then stroke, I'm going to choose black, and stroke pixels, I'm going to choose 15. And by holding shift, I'm going to create one ellipse like this. Now if you see, the anchor point is at the center of this composition, but I want this at the center of this object. So shortcut for that is Control Alt Home. So as you guys can see, the anchor point is properly at the center. Now press V for selection tool, and suppose my object is any over here and I want this object properly at the center, then over here you will get this align tab. With the help of that, you can align it horizontally and then you can align it vertically. So now my object is properly at the center. Now I want to create the bouncing ball animation for this pair. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna animate the position property, obviously, because this is gonna what we call animating on X and Y axis. So I'll press P for position, and initially it should be over here. So I'll move this over here, and then I'll create one keyframe over here. Let's zoom in a little bit, like this, and then I'll go to 20 frames and I'll bring this totally up to here like this. So if I hit play, I'll get this animation. Then I'll go few frame forward, then I'll move this over here, then again over here. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna do is I'll select this keyframe, I'll hit Ctrl C, I'll hit Ctrl V. So if I hit play, I'll get something like this. But if you see over here, you will get this a little bit of glitter. So for to get rid of it, what we can do, we can select this keyframe, we can right click, we can go to the keyframe interpolation, and we can choose linear like this. So if I see this thing now, I'll get something like this. Now I want some solid what we call ground over here. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the rectangle tool, and over here for the fill, I'm going to choose white color, and I'm going to choose, I think, stroke width 15 pixels only. But instead of rectangle, I'm going to choose rounded rectangle, and then I'm going to create one rectangle like this, and then I'll press Control Alt Home again like this. And if you see this rectangle, you will get this rectangle in contents, you will get this rectangle 1. If you go over here, you will get this rectangle path 1. If you go over here, you will get this roundness, and if you increase this roundness, you can create this kind of shape. Okay, so again, with the help of align tab, I'll align it properly at the horizontally, then press P for position, and I'll bring this somewhere around over here. So if I see this animation now, I'll get something like this. But if you see this animation properly, it's look like just normal keyframes which don't have any purpose in life. So to make this animation more interesting, what we need to do, we need to apply some proper dynamic properties. So let's select those keyframes, and if you hit F9, as you guys can see, the animation is quite smooth like this. So if you see, if I hit Ctrl Z, the animation looks quite rigid, and if you see like this, and if you hit F9 to apply easiness those keyframes, you will get this kind of smoothness. But this is not what we want. We want some proper dynamics for our animation. To get the dynamics, what we need to do, we need to adjust the graph editors. So I'll go over here, which is called as graph editor, and over here we need to first of all right click and make sure to edit speed graph like this. So if I see this animation now, I'll still get something like this. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna adjust the graph editor. So I'll select this. By holding shift, I'm gonna move this handle over here and this handle over here. So basically this means the position value, initially it's very less, which is almost 0, and then it's gonna again gonna increase it little by little. If you see over here, you will get this option shape layer 1 position 522.46 pixel per second, and this value is gradually increasing like this. So initially it's slow and then it's gonna act like a fast. So if I see, I'll get something like this. And again, after bouncing, it should go faster and then get slower. So I'll zoom in over here, I'll select this. By holding shift, I'll move this handle over here and this handle over here. So if I see this animation now, I'll get something like this. Okay, so this is how, with the help of graph editor and normal position keyframes, you can create this kind of animation. Now after the shape tool, As you guys know that I have this pen tool. We have discussed what is pen tool, but now let's see in a little bit depth. Now I want some extra animation things over here. So for that, what I'm gonna do, by holding shift, I'm going to create one point over here and one point over here like this. The stroke width is 15 pixels only, and then I'll go to the add menu, and then I'll get this option called trim path. If I click on it, obviously there are so many options, you can check out by yourself also, but right now I'm going to show only one. If you see over here, there are so many things which are not possible to cover in one video, so right now I'm gonna stick with trim path. And if you click go to the trim path, and if you see, you can adjust it like this with the help of that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it, let's say 70, or let's say 60, like this. And if you increase the offset value, you will get this kind of thing. Now I'll create one keyframe over here, zoom in a little bit, and I'll go to, let's say, around 4 seconds, and I'll make it one complete rotation. So if I see this thing, we will get this kind of animation. So let's move this to 2 seconds, maybe like this. You will get continuous animation. But if you see, after 2 seconds it's not gonna animate. So what I want that it should repeat itself. So for that, what I'm gonna do, now I'm gonna apply one expression on it. Suppose if I select this, if I alt click on the stopwatch, then I can apply loop out expression on it, and I'll simply click on it. So now after that, what gonna happen, after this last keyframe, it's again gonna recall its first value, and this animation should be in the form of loop. Now this is the continuous animation. And then suppose I want this entire animation to hollow for my composition. So for that, what I'm gonna do, first of all, I'll press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Then I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. I'll press V for my selection tool, and I'll move this over here. I'll hit Ctrl D. I'll move this over here. I'll hit Ctrl D. I'll move this over here. I'll hit Ctrl D, and I'll move this over here and this one over here. So if I see, I'll get this animation continuously throughout my composition like this. Okay, now after that, we have this text tool over here. Let's see how we can use it. Now suppose over here I'm going to type first text. I'm going to type bouncing ball like this. I'll select this text. I'll press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. I'll go to the align tab. I'll align it horizontally. Then I'll go to the character menu. I'm going to choose different font, like suppose this or something like this. I'll increase the font size like this. Control Alt Home, align tab, again properly at the center. I'll go to the character menu, and over here you will get this fill color. I'll choose white color over here, and then you will get this option called stroke. And for the stroke, I'm going to choose black color, and I'm going to increase the stroke pixels like this. So we will get this kind of text. Now suppose I want to animate that text. So what I'm gonna do, I'll simply go to the effect and presets panel. Then over here you will get this animation presets. Then in text, 3D text, and I'm going to choose 3D flip text over here. After applying that, if I select this and if I hit U, I'll get these two keyframes, and if I hit play, I'll get some animation for my text. So first of all, let's make this quarter resolution. But right now I cannot see the text, because if you see over here, my renderer is Cinema 4D. So if I go over here and I'll choose classic 3D and I'll hit OK. So now if I see this, along with this, I'm gonna get my animation. So I'll select those keyframes. I'll hit F9 to easily use those keyframes, and I'll move this keyframes over here. So along with this animation, I'll get this animation. Now I'll select this bouncing ball. I'll hit U. Let's see, U is shortcut key, so we can see the keyframes like this. After around 2 seconds, I'm going to create one keyframe over here, and again I'll alt click on the stopwatch and I'll type loop out expression on it. So I'll get this animation again continuously like this. Okay, so first of all, we will get this kind of bouncing ball animation. Then I'll select the shape layer and I'll bring this at the top, And now this shape layer is totally different from everything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over here and I can change the color of this one. Now whenever this ball is gonna what we call fall on this, I want some squash and stretch animation for this. So for that, over here you will get this option called puppet position pin tool. Shortcut key is Control P. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move this over here. I'll simply click on this option and I can create some puppet tools, one over here, one over here, and one over here. Let's make this for resolution, and now hit U. Let's go over here. Now as you guys can see, at this point I'm gonna create one keyframe over here and hit page down button to move this thing one frame forward, and somewhere around like this. Now I'll click on this option and I'll bring this downward like this. Okay, so with the help of that, after that, go few frame forward, again hit page down button. I'll select those keyframe, I'll hit Control C, Control V, so I'll get something like this. Okay, but if you see, we will get some glitters over here. So to avoid that thing, what you need to do, let's hit Control Z again like this, and that's where the pre-composition thing gonna come up over here. Now suppose I have this shape layer and I want this thing to be in the separate composition. So for that, what I'm gonna do, right click, I'll go to the option called pre-compose and I'll click on it. Then I can name this composition as let's say wall, and I'll hit OK. Now as you guys can see, this is the separate composition. If I double click to open this composition, in this composition I have this shape layer only. So let's go to the main animation again, and now what I'm gonna do, now I'm gonna go and apply this puppet tool, and then I'll create one thing over here, one pin over here, and one pin over here. As you guys can see, now we are not gonna get any glitch over here, and then you can hit U and let's go forward around this point. I'll create one keyframes again, hit page down button again, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on this option and I'll not like this, let's create one keyframe over here and click on this, and you can if you can create a little bit of bend over here. Hit page down button again, select the first keyframe, hit Control C, Control V, so you will get this kind of effect over here. Let's zoom in a little bit like this. So you will, with the help of this puppet pen tool, you can create a little bit of bend over here. Now what we need to do, we need to select this ball over here, hit U. Let's go to the last keyframe and we will click one keyframe on this puppet pen tool, and you can alt click on the stopwatch and you can apply loop out expression on it again. So you will get this loop out thing again for this puppet tool also, like this. Okay, now we will learn some last chapter of this, that are what we call layers, etc, etc. So in the blank space, if you right click and if you go to the new, you can create one solid like this, and I'm gonna call it as BG, and for over here you can choose whatever color you want. I'll choose white color and hit OK, and let's bring this over here, and you can lock this layer. Right click, new, and then you can, again there are text things, light, camera, etc, etc, which we cannot learn in this video particularly. So let's go select this null object. Null object is basically null object. Obviously you can select any of them and you can make it parent with this null object, and with the help of that you can move anything from here to here, etc, etc, like this. So this is the concept of null object. Then right click, new, and create one adjustment layer. And adjustment layer, you can apply any effect if you want. For example, you can't apply, let's say, tint effect on it, but not only tint effect, you can apply any effect if you want in After Effects, and you can swap these colors, etc, etc. So adjustment layer is basically to apply some effects on it like this. So these are some basic things that you should know about the After Effects. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and if you like this tutorial, then please consider to subscribe this channel and also hit the bell icon to get more updates. And if you want to create some more interesting animations like this, then check out these two videos. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay tuned.